So Judi, Laura, Nancy, come on up. Ready to roll? Everybody good? All right, welcome everybody. I'm Congressman Steve Israel. I have the privilege of representing just the most beautiful congressional district in all of America. It's wonderful to be here with North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judi Bosworth and Bill Ditchick, the Development Director of Landmark on Main Street, Nancy Solomon, the Executive Director of Long Island Traditions. We have the Receiver of Taxes here, Charlie Berman, Councilwoman Dina DeGiorgio, and Councilwoman Anna Kaplan, Councilwoman Lee Seaman, Councilman Peter Zuckerman, and Wayne Wink is not here, but maybe he'll join us. I've always said that I'm not the smartest member of the United States Congress, although if you listen to my colleagues, you know the competition's not that stiff. But I love history. I'm the most serious student of history in Congress, I believe. This bay, Manhasset Bay, this is part of Long Island history. It is a historic place. This is where there was shellfishing. This is where there was boat building. This is where there was sand mining. The skyscrapers of New York City were built with the sand that was mined right here, or right at this site. Port Washington was called the Plymouth Rock of America's aviation industry. People think it was Roosevelt Field with Lindbergh. No, actually it was Port Washington was the foundation for the very beginning of America's aviation industry. So those are the historic events that occurred right here, but another historic event occurred here some years ago, and it was Superstorm Sandy. And it ravaged this site, destroyed the dock, put the parking lot into complete disrepair. Now, some people would see that as, derelict facility. Judi Bosworth saw it as an opportunity. And so she came to Washington several months ago and she said, is there any federal partnership that would help us turn this from a dock that was in disrepair, that was ravaged by a hurricane, into something that helps us celebrate the heritage and the history, the art and the culture of this community. And Judi left my office and I picked up the phone and I called Jane Hsu. Jane Hsu is the head of the National Endowment for the Arts. I'm on the subcommittee that funds the National Endowment for the Arts, so when I call, they tend to pick up the phone, take my calls, since I help write the checks. I talked to her about this and she said, we actually have something. And here's Wayne Wink who's joining us now. She said, I think we have something. It's called an Our Town Grant. And what it requires is community partnerships that will take something that is derelict and in disrepair and turn it into something that celebrates culture, art, and history. And she suggested that the town of North Hempstead create this partnership and apply for a grant, which they did. And we're here this morning to announce that the National Endowment for the Arts has provided a $75,000 grant to rehabilitate, restore, revitalize, and replenish this entire area. Here's what it's going to do. It's going to transform this area into an attractive, interactive park, number one. Number two, it's going to provide for some green planning, design, and infrastructure. Number three, this will become a space for arts and culture programming. So we'll be able to display and exhibit the art of this community and educate people about the culture of this community and just share the treasured history of Long Island's North Shore. This is the perfect partnership between the federal government, between a local government, between not-for-profits that exist to advance arts and culture in our community. Never would have happened had Judi Bosworth not come into my office that one day in Washington and said, is there any partnership? Never would have happened without the NEA chairwoman saying, yes, we have something, and never would have happened without the partnership of Landmark on Main Street, Long Island Traditions. So this is a partnership that will turn disrepair into a future. That will celebrate our history and our art, and I'm so pleased to have played a role in securing this grant. And now let me introduce the woman who inspired it all, the inspirational North Hempstead Town Supervisor, Judi Bosworth.
Thank you.
Hey,
So, Congressman, we are so grateful for your continuing hard work and advocacy on our behalf. It's never ending, and it's something that we appreciate so very, very deeply. So this grant award is such exciting news for us all, especially here in the town of North Hempstead. It never would have happened without your strong support. And I wanted to point out that it was just a mere 2 weeks ago that Congressman Israel joined his colleagues in Washington to announce a more than $1.6 million investment through FEMA Public Assistance Program for the town of North Hempstead to repair the damage caused by Superstorm Sandy at the beach parking lot at North Hempstead Beach Park. So clearly, we in North Hempstead have a great friend in Congressman Israel, and that's something we thank you so much for. So we're honored to be one of only 69 towns across the nation to receive an Our Towns grant. And of course, we're so grateful to NEA for selecting North Hempstead's Town Dock as a recipient. So now we can take this grant, focus on rebuilding, and also transforming this location into an artful, sustainable, and dynamic destination space. It's so exciting to think that we're talking about a marine dock and art in the same breath. That's not something you usually put together, but why not? When we think of rebuilding our town dock, we're not only going to be making it more resilient, now we have the funding to help make it more beautiful and inspiration as well. So what are we limited by? We're limited by only our imaginations. And I know that here in Port Washington, as well as in the entire town, we have some of the most creative communities of artists anywhere. So we're looking forward to getting started, and the key word is create, and that's what we're looking forward to doing. So again, Congressman Israel, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Bosworth. And we are also pleased to be joined by Laura Mogul, who's the Director of Landmark, Executive Director of Landmark on Main Street. Laura.
Thank you.
Come on over.
Hello. Don't worry, I don't speak that long. Thank you for having us here today. I'm Laura Mogul. I represent Landmark on Main Street. I'd like to congratulate Congressman Israel and Supervisor Bosworth and all of the people who work for them, who worked so hard to bring this grant, this federal NEA grant, here to Port Washington and make even more possible the repair and renovation of this town dock. This new park will be a great addition to what's already a cultural hub here on Lower Main Street, joining not only our Landmark on Main Street building, but also the Port Washington Public Library and the Sousa Bandshell, which are each landmarks in their own right. Add to that a vibrant and varied collection of shops, restaurants, a ball field, and of course, beautiful Manhasset Bay. And we have a real tourist cultural destination right here in our backyard. At Landmark, we know what it means to have the support of our elected officials and our local community. 2015 marks the 20th anniversary of the opening of our own renewed, revived, and repurposed building just up the street. A unique coalition of public and private agencies, advocates, and underwriters came together to turn a derelict 87-year-old school building that had been closed for 10 years into a community center that today serves a population from age 2 to 92, with 59 units of senior housing, the Port Washington Children's Center, Parent Resource Center, Teen Center, Doctor's Gym, and oh yes, the Gene Rimsky Theater at Landmark on Main Street, home to both world-class performers and local dance, music, and drama troupes of all varieties. We're honored to be part of the team that will design and plan this newest facility, and we look forward to the day when we'll all be back here for that ribbon cutting. So thank you again, Congressman Israel, Supervisor Bosworth, and to the many officials and individuals who are all working to make this happen. Thank you very
much. And thank you so much, Laura. And finally, the Executive Director of Long Island Traditions, Nancy Solomon. Nancy.
Thank you so very much, Congressman Israel. It's a pleasure to be here with you again. I know of your passion for the arts and heritage. And thank you, Supervisor Bosworth, for having the courage and the vision to embarking on this ambitious project. The Port Washington Town Dock vision is truly unique and one that has the potential to bridge the community's historic relationship to its waterfront. Anglers, sailors, nature lovers, residents of different ethnic and cultural backgrounds will all find something in the Our Town project that recognizes Port Washington's ethnic and maritime traditions. We see this project as a community effort and hope to unite disparate groups into an engaging arts program for Port Washington. Beginning this fall, Long Island Traditions will be conducting an in-depth cultural and ethnic maritime tradition survey that will include both interviews and historical research in order to understand how local traditions continue to play an important part in families and communities. From this cultural survey, we look forward to working with the town in creating a dynamic installation that will examine and reflect. As I was saying, from this survey, we look forward to working with the team in creating a dynamic installation that will examine and reflect the many ethnic, occupational, and recreational traditions of Port Washington. We also look forward to having a variety of performances and videos that will bring residents together, fostering an environment that will encourage cross-cultural learning among young and old, through concerts, demonstrations, and storytelling. We recognize that the town of North Hempstead is a trailblazer in pursuing this project. We commend Supervisor Bosworth and the National Endowment for the Arts and Congressman Israel for their commitment to supporting the traditional arts and culture of Port Washington.
Thank you very much. That about wraps it up. Questions? Are you guys good? All right, now you're going to show us around and
Show you around.
show me what we're going to do here. And then we'll all be back for the ribbon cutting when this is just a masterpiece of local art and culture.
Let's go.
Thank you all. Thanks.